Established in 2006, the Global Avian and Human Influenza Facility is playing a unique role in the global response to highly pathogenic avian influenza, human influenza, and other emerging communicable diseases. The facility is a global multi-donor trust fund administered by the World Bank and supported by the European Commission and 9 other donors. As of March 2010, the facility has received pledges of over $127 million and made grants to some 50 countries totaling some $94 million. The emphasis is on country-level efforts through integrated national action plans and to supporting the essential work of international agencies at the front line of the global response to these diseases. At the country level, the grant funds provided by the facility are typically leveraging other sources of funding, whether from the government authorities or other donors. At their most effective, the funds are supporting strengthened preparedness and multisectoral responses to the H5N1 and H1N1 viruses and other zoonoses. As originally intended, the facility is helping countries strike a balance between emergency response and longer-term investment in critical preparedness systems that will help mitigate the effects of further occurrences of these diseases. In the short clip that follows, we look at the work of the facility in the People's Democratic Republic of Laos. Lao PDR suffered its first outbreak of H5N1 in 2004 and was quick to recognize the severity of the situation and the need for multisectoral coordination.
There was the organization dealing with the chicken health, which is the veterinary, but the coordination in the beginning is not so closely linked with, because disease in avian influenza later on transmit to human. That's why in 2007 we have 2 cases of a human case of avian influenza. That make us also very worried about that, because if we don't do very strictly and carefully, we may be the epicenter of this outbreak. That's why the government takes seriously about this problem.
The government established the National Committee for the Containment of Communicable Diseases under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister, and below this the National Center for Disease Control. The National Avian and Human Influenza Coordination Office, or the NAHICO, was also formed at this time and has played a critical convening role. Government moved rapidly to prepare a national plan and in 2006 requested support from the facility, receiving a first grant of $2 million and a subsequent grant of $2.4 million. As in other countries, these funds have supplemented, leveraged, and provided continuity to programs supported by other donors and international agencies.
The preparation of the AHI program was from the beginning perceived as a multi-sectoral and a multi-donor effort. So when you go back to January of 2006, before the Beijing conference, there was a concerted effort made by the donors to come together to develop the national implementation program. And that gave the opportunity for the UN agencies, UNDP, UNICEF, WHO and FAO, as well as other multilaterals like the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, and bilaterals like the European Union, USAID, and even the US government here, who funded activities through the FAO, to basically support this multi-donor support effort to the country.
In 2007, Laos suffered a major H5N1 outbreak that affected 5 provinces and over 230 villages. The response was significantly improved due to the planning that had taken place and the multi-sectoral coordination provided by NAHICO, since relabeled as the National Emerging Infectious Disease Coordination Office, NIETCO. Working together, the stakeholders were able to identify gaps and opportunities and develop an action plan around the central pillars of the national plan.
And we have 5 strategies. Namely, the first one is the strategy to reduce the disease in animal health, which is the responsible of the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. And the second strategy is talking about the surveillance and response. And the third strategy is about the laboratory and the medical care. And the fourth strategy is about risk communication. And the fifth strategy is about the strengthening legal framework, coordination, etc. that bring along the whole society approach, different ministry, multi-sectoral, in order to deal with the common goal for the success of the control.
Considerable progress was possible in the implementation of the strategies due to the flexibility of the partners and their willingness to work together, as well as close alignment of the strategies with institutional mandates and capacities, both of the government departments and the international agencies. Aided by its highly structured society and a remarkable communications campaign supported by UNICEF and the government of Japan, Lao PDR was able to rapidly organize stakeholder groups down to the village level and to use this network to diffuse messages and encourage behavioral change. Village chiefs and mass organizations such as Lao Women's Union and Lao Front for Construction have played a central role in providing an effective local response. Response teams were established at the provincial and district levels, and a hotline was set up and was subsequently used by a village veterinary worker to report an outbreak. The Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry has also assisted in the establishment of associations, for example, of fighting cock owners, to improve information flow and crisis response among specific subgroups.
สันข้าพเจ้าชื่อบุญยูแก่นคำเนาะเป็นนายบ้านบ้านนนกอยเมืองสุสานนครหลวงจันทร์เนาะเป็นนายบ้านมานี่ได้10 ปลายกว่าปีแต่94มาปัจจุบันเนาะฉะนั้นตกมาฮอดระยะนี้ถือว่ามีพยาธิระบาดก็คือพยาธิไข้หวัดสัตว์ปีกเนาะฉะนั้นจุดเป้าหมายถือว่าจุดแดงเนาะถือว่ามันเริ่มต้นอยู่บ้านใกล้เคียงพวกเขาฉะนั้นจึงมีคำสั่งว่าขั้นถึงเพื่อปราบและสกัดกั้นต้านพยาธิดังกล่าวเนาะฉะนั้นพวกเขาได้รับแจ้งการแล้วจากเมืองก็ได้นำเอาบรรดาเอกสารดังกล่าวมาเผยแพร่จัดตั้งให้พ่อแม่ประชาชนภายในบ้านรับรู้และเข้าใจเพื่อพร้อมพากันแก้ไขปัญหาดังกล่าวเนาะ
To further strengthen the surveillance system, and with the support of FAO and WHO, laboratory facilities were upgraded to enable 24-hour turnaround on sample analysis, and further upgrades are being supported by the facility. Building on previous efforts supported by FAO and WHO, the facility continues to support awareness raising and capacity building at a large scale, targeting provincial and district officials, village veterinary workers, village authorities, mass organizations, and teachers. As in other countries, a training of trainers approach has been very effective in expanding the reach of capacity building efforts. The facility is also supporting the development of specialized courses, notably in epidemiology, that will supplement the existing course offered in Thailand.
ไข้หวัดสัตว์ปีกเนาะเพราะว่าไข้หวัดสัตว์ปีกมันได้มาระบาดติดใส่สัตว์ปีกก็คือปัญหาเป็ดไก่เนาะบ้านพวกเขาฉะนั้นผลกระทบมันนั่นเฮ็ดให้สัตว์ปีกของพวกเขาบ้านพวกเขานี่ถือว่าตายอย่างล่วงหลายเนาะฉะนั้นภายหลังพยาธิตัวนี้มันได้เกิดขึ้นอยู่ภายในบ้านพวกเขาแล้วเนาะ แต่ก่อนก็บ่ฮู้ดอกเนาะก่อนสิฮู้ก็ย้อนว่าทางพวกเขาได้รายงานให้ทางกสิกรรมเมืองปักเงินเพิ่นเพื่อสมทบกับนครหลวงลงมากวดกาได้เอาไก่อยู่บ้านพวกเขาไปกวดหาเชื้อพยาธิดังกล่าวภายหลังได้เอาไปแล้วก็ได้พบเชื้อพยาธิดังกล่าวนั้นฉะนั้นต่อปัญหาดังกล่าวนั้นเพิ่นก็ได้ลงมาโฆษณาเผยแพร่ให้ประชาชนว่าบ้านพวกเขานี้ได้ถูกผลกระทบต่อปัญหาพยาธิไข้หวัดปีกนี่แล้วเนาะฉะนั้นเพื่อบ่หลีกเลี่ยงปัญหาพยาธิดังกล่าวบ่ให้มันแพร่หาคนเนาะจากสัตว์มาหาคนเนาะฉะนั้นแล้วทางกสิกรรมนครหลวงเพิ่นก็ได้สมทบกับบ้านเนาะโฆษณาเผยแพร่ให้ประชาชนรู้และก็เข้าใจวิธีสกัดกั้นเนาะก็เลยวิธีทำลายสัตว์ปีกที่ล้มตายนั้นควรเฮ็ดแนวใด
In one of the most successful components supported by the facility, a compensation program was implemented, designed to offset losses experienced by families and poultry producers during outbreaks. The program has evolved in several ways over the 5 years since the initial outbreak. Compensation rates were initially low, around 40% for live birds. These were subsequently increased to 60% for live birds. Technical assistance provided by the facility has recommended that further increases be accompanied by improvements in biosecurity and vaccination. In addition to the rate increase, the time to payment lag experienced by farmers and arising from the need for verification and budget authorization has also been resolved. Payments are now made directly by district authorities with subsequent reimbursement by central government. In summarizing the impact of the AHI facility in Lao PDR, it should be noted that the resources provided by the facility have been applied flexibly in support of the government's program and as a complement to resources, both human and financial, being provided by other agencies. The partnership between government ministries, the international community, and local authorities has been central to the success of the response. There are clear signs that broad implementation across the 5 strategies has led to improved practices and preparedness to respond to future outbreaks of H5N1 and other emerging infectious diseases.
In fact, we would like to take this opportunity to appreciate the World Bank, the EU, and other development partners to support us. Those partners' development involved in the very beginning to analyze the gaps, working together with the Lao government officials and then with the community to identify the real gaps and real needs of the country. That's why through the implementation of those 5 strategies which have been together put into practice, we can see that a lot of progress. Now capacity building is very expanded from the province, district, and to the community. And in this national plan, the main aim is try to make the people understand and solve the problem by themselves.
We very much like the way we're working with the World Bank, as you rightly said before, that it means that we don't have to spend the money on specific areas, but we can bring it all together and work on things like lab equipment, rehabilitation, training, all put together. So from that point of view, we're extremely happy with it. And of course, worldwide, European Union has contributed $71 million to the trust fund. So we are, of course, great supporters, and we think that it is functioning very, very well. But more needs to be done, and we need to speed things up a bit, and hopefully what we're doing now will enable us to deal with further outbreaks in a much better manner than in the past, and this is what we're looking for, of course.